Today we're going to have a look at alpha exercise 24.02, and what we're doing here is we're finding an unknown side in a right angle triangle. So let's take a look at some of those now. Now I'm going to have a look at the first question here. The first question looks like this. So you've got a right angle triangle. Here it is, drawn rather badly by me. That side is called A. It's called A, by the way, but it doesn't mean it's the adjacent side. It just means it's called A. All right, we've got an angle here which is 36 degrees. Okay, and there is our triangle. All right, so what we're going to do now is find angle A. So how do we do that? So in this case, we use the term, if you like, SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Now the thing to remember here is this just means sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. That's all that means. It's just a brief way of remembering the different trig identities. But what we need to do now is, first of all, take the triangle and label it. So step one is to label it. So 1. So we're going to identify the sides of the triangle. So, and the sides are always in relation to angles. So the hypotenuse is always opposite the right angles. Here's the right angle. So if I go opposite here, so this must be the hypotenuse, this side here. Now, the adjacent is always the side next to the 36. Well, this is next to it as well, but this is the longer side. So it's the other side that's next to it. So this side here is the adjacent. Notice in this case, the adjacent has got nothing written here. There's not an A, it's not an X, it's not a number. There's nothing here, which means that we're not really interested in the adjacent at all. We're interested in the side over here called A in this case. And A is opposite the angle which we know. It's opposite the known angle. So we call this the opposite. So in choosing the trig identity, which is the next step, choose trig identity, we just choose the one where we don't have this thing here. So we don't want an adjacent, yeah? So anything but something with an adjacent. So let's have a look here. So adjacent, okay, what's got an adjacent up here? Well, this has got an adjacent, we don't need that one. This has got an adjacent, we don't need this one. So we're left with sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that is the identity we're going to use. And so 3 is to write out the equation. And the equation in this case is going to look like this. It's going to be sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, just in the way I described before. Now the fourth step, though, put 4 here, is to substitute in what we know. So put sub into equation and solve. So let's substitute stuff into the equation. So we've got sine, here it is. Sine what? Well, sine's an angle. And the angle in this case is 36. So get sine 36 is equal to opposite. Now, what's the opposite side? There it is. It's called A. So I'm just going to write equals A over. And then we've got an H. What's our H? There it is. H is 10. It's the hypotenuse. So I'm just going to write A over 10. Now to solve this, I need to get A on its own, so I need to undo this divide by 10. So how do I undo a divide by 10? Well, I multiply by 10. So I multiply by 10, so I write times 10 on the top, not on the bottom. If I wrote it on the bottom, I'm actually dividing by 10. So I write times 10 on the top, and again on the top over here again, times 10. So let's see what we've got now. 10 divided by 10 is 1, leaving me with an A. So that equals A here. Now I've got 10 times sine 36. Now I'm going to use the calculator for that one. Let's have a look, see what we end up. Let's have a look. 10 times sine 36. So I'm going to go 10, and I'm not going to bother with the times. I'm just going to go 10 sine 36, and I'm going to execute. And it gives me, and it gives me a negative. Now, there's a reason it gives me a negative is because I've got this on radians. I need it to be on degrees, so I'm going to go change it here. See over here, it's called radians. I need that to be degrees. So I'm going to change that there. So I'm going to go down, hang on, here we go. And I'm going to change it to degrees. So here we go, change it to degrees, and it's now on degrees. So that's what I want. Okay, great. So let's now try that again. See if I can go back and try that again. Here we go, execute. And it's now 5.8778. I'm just going to call that 5.88. So 5.88. And in this case, let's have a look, is it meters? It says centimeters. So that must be in centimeters. So there's my answer. Normally I'd write the A on the other side. A is equal to 5.88 centimeters. And there's my answer.